How's it going, everyone? All right, yeah, so between now and the last video, I've just been busy with work and lots been going on. So you'll probably see that these next few clips, you could probably tell that they're weeks apart from each other. So here's a time lapse of the bed coming off. All right, so here we are, probably about 4 weeks since I took the bed off. And I knew the frame was in good shape, but I'm actually surprised it's in a lot better shape than I thought. There's a few spots, though, where it's got some really heavy surface rust, but even this cross member is okay. There's no rot through on it. Even this skinny little one here for the, I think this was probably part of the spare tire holder. Yeah, the worst is just some like really heavy surface rust in some spots, and then you got stuff like this where there's rust behind it. So one thing I decided I'm gonna do is, I mean, the frame on this thing's straight and solid, but especially like in the back where there's some of these spots where if I clean this down to bare metal, which I plan on doing to prime it, it might get kind of thin. So, and also since I have the bed off and I only want to do it once, I got two options. I could box in the frame, which I know will be really strong, but at the same time, it makes it a pain in the butt to run brake lines and electrical. So what I think I might end up doing is on the outside of the frame, just taking a 1/8 inch plate, basically just making a doubler for the frame. That'll be the easiest, and then I can re-drill the holes that need to be drilled from behind, and that'll work out. All right, so the first thing I'm going to start doing is stripping the frame of everything that is no longer going to be necessary. Like, I'm going to be taking these brackets off. Now, these brackets are what attach the lift gate, the bottom half of the lift gate, to the frame. The truck didn't always have a lift gate on it. It had just the bumper part, and the bumper was later modified to accommodate the lift gate. So these brackets are what welded to the lift gate and part of the bumper. So we're gonna take these off, clean them up, and put them aside. We're gonna leave the leaf springs, the shackles and hangers attached. Those are gonna be the last to come off, and when I go to do the welding and prep for that, I'll explain why. But everything else, the bump stops, all that, everything that's riveted on, that can come off. All this old electrical stuff's getting replaced. That can go. The shock's gone. That air tank, junk. Probably, I might take this front cross member off because this is the one that does have a little bit of rot on it. But we'll see. But everything I know right now that's going to be unnecessary, that's not going to get in my way, I'm going to work on taking it off. All right, so right now I'm currently in between moving out of the shop I've been leasing and setting up shop in my own house. So I don't have all my tools, such as my big impact over here right now, so I'm using this. But I'll tell you what, this thing will put out, from what I've heard, 250 foot-pounds. And it's taken out these big bolts so far without much of a problem. But I gotta use the breaker bar on this one. So let's get it. Oh, geez. I have to put a pipe on it. It's coming loose now. It's funny, the smallest, this has a, what size? It's a 3/4 head bolt, and the other ones are 15/16. And this is the one that's giving me trouble. I did spray them down with PB Blaster for the past couple days though, so that definitely helped. All right, let's see here. Little back and forth action. Nope, gotta spray it a little bit more. It wants to go. The head of that nut's stripping off. Might just have to cut it. Yeah, the rust itself is holding it on now, I think. Jeez. I'll try with the pry bar now. I've straightened this pry bar out several times and bent it. I mean, Harbor Freight's got a lot of good stuff, but this isn't one of them. Yeah, my camera overheated. I got them off. What ended up happening is there was actually, I got all the bolts out and there was a little bit of, it was actually welded on the bottom a little right there, but as you can see, yeah, it's rust got really bad. And this side doesn't look a whole lot better. So what I've done, I've come to the conclusion that I took a measurement on both sides. From here to this mark where I scored, just past where the second bed bolt goes, cutting the frame off right here and here on either side. And I'm either gonna take the back pieces of the frame off of that truck, or I'm just gonna make this whole section new here, which you'll see how to do that. The reason why I'm gonna do that is because, I mean, number one, you see how bad this is. That's like almost paper thin right there. And I have a feeling it's gonna be like that behind this. And then another thing, the bottom bolt for the shock came undone surprisingly easy. I was surprised. But this, it ain't coming off, and this side and that side especially, the studs are just totally worn. So I'm gonna just cut them off with a Sawzall for now. And whether I buy new shock mounts or I make my own, this mark that I scored right here is the center of where the stud is. And 5 inches from here to here is where the center of the shock is. So if I do make my own, I know how it's got to be laid out. I know some of you are cringing that I use the grinder to mark the frame like this. I'm not really afraid to do that because the rest of the frame's getting reinforced anyway, and I could fill that in with welds, so it's going to be fine. You'll see. So I got a little more work to do, and if my camera doesn't overheat, I'll show you as much of it as I can. All right, so it's a few hours later. I've been grinding away at rivets, and all my 18-volt batteries are dead, so I just have one left. So for now, I'm just going to take the back wheels off. I'm just going to run singles in the back for now, because even just moving it around, having the dualies on it, it just spins. I was able to run and get a few other tools, including my big impact, but I forgot to grab my impact socket, so I'll just have to use chrome. It's just like how the song goes. I may be a real bad boy, but baby, I'm a real good man. I don't know if you can see how well you can see this, but most dually wheels don't have tapered, the holes for the lug nuts aren't tapered. So you have this plate to use the tapered lug nuts on it. So if you have a dually and it has this plate, make sure you use it. It doesn't go in between the dualies. It goes on the outboard one, and the lug nut goes into it, both tapered. I know, Maggie, I know. Get a spaniel, they said. It'll be fun, they said. All right, Maggie, you're all dirty. And there we go. That'll give me a little bit more traction trying to drive around in the driveway. Yeah, I started taking some things off. The one shock mount and what looks like an old exhaust hanger. Those will not be going back on. I still got a ways to go, but all my batteries are here charging. And I'm, like I said, in the middle of moving around, so I'm just getting stuff put away for the most part still. So I think I might call it a wrap for tonight, and we'll pick up where we left off.